Oh, should we do a sync clap? Clap sync. Oh yeah, first of all,
It's not going to be in sync.
I keep forgetting to do this with the last recordings, which is going to be fucking annoying to do. Let's have some room silence, please, for a few seconds.
I knew you were going to laugh.
Wait until she's left the room.
Bye, Caroline.
Bye.
Bye,
What do I do when I
Caroline.
like want food?
I'll just walk through.
I'll just okay.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll ignore you. We'll edit those bits out. We'll all just stop and stare.
Let's get some silence.
You guys are terrible at this.
It was Ben Swallow that did it for me. He was like... Right, so you guys are all... You've all... I don't know how long you guys have known each other or how long you've been in the city. I'll describe some of this stuff. We can probably figure it out afterwards. We're all... you're all in the city of Whitgate, which is the last of the three cities. It's the whole area where the three cities sit in is called the Banklands, and it's a steep, grassy area, sort of equivalent to like steep forested hillside, sort of in like a human-sized setting. Whitgate itself sits on like a bunch of trade roads. As the main one is it sits on the northern shore of the pond, which is like a big body of water, and it's got a harbour where boats come in and out of. Then there's also a major trade road that runs through it, east to west, and that runs along the shore for pretty much its entire extent, and it continues off to the west a long way. To the east, it meets the wall, which is, as I was describing to you earlier, like a massive dry stone wall that actually goes over the pond. There's an archway, and when you get to where the road meets the wall, there's a ivy growing up, and it's called Ivy Cliff. There's a town where people charge you to run up and down the cliff, and so that's the way over the wall. The wall is like, maybe I should sketch some of this stuff out. So the wall is like this. It sort of massively splits off, and it runs very far that way and very far that way.
So that's into the sort of the lands of myth sort of thing.
Yeah, well, okay, yes, a long way.
It's like places none of us have ever been, or places that
You guys yourself probably haven't travelled that far, but
have we heard of them
you
at
all
all?
know what's on the other side of the wall.
Okay.
You'll know quite a lot about what's on, say, the southern edge of the pond, but you might not necessarily have ever been there. I don't know. It depends on like, for instance, you're like a city group. You probably haven't moved that much. You probably haven't seen that much of the world. So yeah, there's pond's basically something like this, and then it also continues off on the other side. The town's located somewhere around here. This is where we're starting.
And the town's called
Whitgate.
Whitgate.
And this is the steep bank.
The steep bank is basically runs along like this, and then it sort of tapers off and flattens out around here.
And then there's Ivy Cliff.
Ivy Cliff is here. This is
Cool. And what is on the other side?
there's a pine forest on the other side.
Okay.
And some more of the lake. So there's basically I'll basically describe the directions you guys can travel in. So the area that the Myrmidons, which is the name of the Red Ant army, is basically this bit. Is the area which they indisputably control, and then this is all like rough. I'm not being too precise about.
And they've
distance
come from
and stuff.
beyond the wall.
No, they actually were originally confined to a smaller area, sort of near the wall, and they spread out. But their armies are their armies are all around. And in fact, there was an attack by their flying sort of vanguards on the city last night, which was repelled. And there's they were fighting inside the city walls where they leapt over, and there's dead lying on the streets. But it wasn't like slaughter.
It was a skirmish.
It was a skirmish. There weren't that many of them, but that suggests that the main column isn't far behind. So you've probably only got less than a week before the city is besieged and probably falls. So yeah, the Ivy Cliff's here.
Has Ivy Cliff fallen?
No, Ivy Cliff hasn't, although it's not. Ivy Cliff, I've drawn it very big, but it's actually very tight to the water's edge. It doesn't extend that far up.
Okay.
So that's one way to cross the wall. There's a couple of other ways I'll talk about in potential later, because the further you get away, sort of, you guys just want to, at this point, need to have a rough idea of where you want to head. So north is a bit of a tricky option for you because that's heading straight towards their territory. So you can travel this way along the shore. There's some towns along here, and it's probably a couple of days' travel to get to the Ivy Cliff.
And we're trying to get over beyond the wall?
You don't have to. You're trying to get away. It's whatever. In fact, I'll just describe the rough layout, and then if you guys want to know about particular areas, you can do like rolls or something to figure it out. The other ways, obviously, you can head off this way. The road extends across. There's grassland over here for quite an extent, and then somewhere around here there's a bramble thicket. Again, probably 2 or 3 days travel away, maybe for more. The plain's quite big. And then beyond that, there's the kingdom of the Republic of Mana, which is an apple tree, and the land's underneath the apple tree, which is a fairly big and well-known kingdom, but it's a good distance
Kingdom
off.
or Republic?
Republic, I just keep saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You could also obviously charter some boats.
Yeah,
and head across the pond. So there's a bunch of reed banks over here.
Sort of west bank.
Yes. On the south bank, I haven't fleshed out the details too much of what's down here, but if you head off in this direction, it's known that the Myrmidons don't tend to cross water. They tend to travel round, or if they do, they don't do it as often, and it's not with like their strength. They haven't ever really had water territory, so no one really knows how well they'll deal with it. So you can try and make the whole voyage across, but it's quite a long way. There's also a city called Nufa, which is built on some lily pads which sit in the pond.
Cool.
And that's a bit of like a sort of pirate port. It's a notorious...
It's a pretty criminal.
Yes, it's pretty much lawless, so it's not necessarily entirely criminal, but it mostly is. There's no real governance there. It's just people building on the cities. There is also... The only thing you know of south down here is that there's a breach in the wall around here where the wall in the distant past was smashed by some titanic force, and there's like boulders and stuff strewn around here, and that's one way to pass over the wall if you wanted to. I know I've given you lots of options to pass over the wall, but honestly, feel free to head in a different direction.
Okay, so I guess it doesn't matter too much, but how does the pond, if there's the wall bisecting the pond, how does
the way it works is it goes down, and then from about here, this is where I was just getting to, but from about here to about here, there's an archway and there's a tunnel that goes through to the other side. So if you charter a boat, you can cross through.
And what is on the other side? Like, what is there for us? Because you said we'd know what's beyond the wall.
So there's the pond itself is smaller, and on the other side of the wall only comes to sort of the edge of the page.
Okay.
And beyond it, in this whole area, there's pine forest for a good distance. Okay. You probably, if you want
wilderness.
No, there are other kingdoms over there and empires and all that sort of thing. You'll know less about the specifics of them.
Do we know, like a large kind of, what's like a big sort of city area which might have like a lot of guards that could either be used for good defense and protection, or may even want to sort of tackle this ant problem head on? Like, is there like a main sort of...
The manor, the place I was describing earlier, has got is probably one of the strongest kingdoms that you know of. It's
or republic, even.
I might just make it a fucking kingdom.
No, make it a republic, man. I really like the idea of a republic.
I like it when you say republic as well.
It's somewhere off to the east. So you could either cut along along the shore. Although there's probably Myrmidons patrols almost everywhere along here. You could sail across here to the reeds.
Have we met each other yet?
Yes, I would say you guys are at the stage where I don't know exactly how you've met each other, but they're like it's what you're doing is not unique. It's obviously a recent tradition, but it is to some degree a tradition that you've all signed like a sort of covenant that you'll travel together and look after each other as a group. But you don't necessarily know each other.
So it's like we met in like a refugee camp or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. You're probably your actual people are at the moment are camped in the field outside the city. They're not in the city itself at the moment. But that's not because you're not welcome. It's just because there's not really room. The city's absolutely rammed.
So is this like a game in which we role play a lot as our single character? Because then are we speaking for the rest of our group or what? If that makes sense.
A lot of
Or is
yes.
it like two separate things where we're role playing our character and then we're role playing?
I'm not mechanically separating the two, but at the moment, conceptually, you guys are sitting in a meeting with your bosses and all the other important members from your groups and sort of discussing where you want to go. But I'm not going to make you discuss it in character, mainly because I don't want to have to role play 12 other NPCs.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you guys' decision be the binding decision of the group. But when you're, most of the time during the game, you'll be playing as you guys walking around doing the things you're doing, but on behalf of that whole group. So you're the guys who are most suitable, because you're the sort of among the most talented members of your group. You're going to be going out and doing the buying. If there's threats, you'll be fighting them. All this sort of thing.
Okay.
Is there anything else I need to describe? So yeah, there's the Kingdom of Manners off this way, so you could get to it. I want to say it's somewhere off this way. You've probably never been there directly, so you don't know whether it would be quickest to cross the pond or to head that way.
Okay.
There's another direction which I haven't described to you yet. There's something called the Warren, which is basically the connection of all the animal burrows, wormholes, all that sort of stuff connected up, and it's a bit like the Underdark in D&D. It's like a massive cave network. This is like that. It's like a whole other world under the surface.
With lots of danger, I guess. And
there's more danger there. All this sort of stuff. There are lots of civilizations, as it were, underneath as well. It's not an area of such danger that nobody goes there. But generally speaking, there's a separation between the lords of the surface don't necessarily own or have dominion over the people underneath.
Kind of like dwarvish kind of societies, or
I would say that if you're going to a fantasy cliche, it's probably nearest barbarian tribes.
Okay.
They tend to be smaller groups. They tend to be quite fractious. They're less
welcoming to outsiders.
If the people on the surface are more along the lines of something like Renaissance Europe, then underneath the ground, it's probably more like the Mongols before they formed an empire and conquered the world. Like they're sort of semi-nomadic tribes that travel through, and they live in a much more dangerous environment, and they sort of are rougher and tougher for it.
Right.
So that's the third, and the Warren has. This is part of the reason why Whitgate is called what it is because there's a massive, 300-foot tall opening, abandoned animal burrow that extends into the Warren, and the city's built on its lip, and it both reaches down some way into the.
Does the Warren go underneath the pond?
No, the Warren doesn't go underneath the pond. It extends out in all these directions.
Yeah.
I'm not going to draw it on, but there are lots of openings all over the place. So basically,
we're in a meeting.
Which ways do you guys feel like you need to head? There's one more thing to note. So you have a general, this is obviously your local area. The Banklands is what you know, and also probably the shores of the ponds. But because the land's in turmoil at the moment, you don't know which settlements have been destroyed. You don't know where the refugee camps are. To some degree, even though this is familiar land to you, you can't count on there being towns where you expect them. It's to some degree unknown. You don't necessarily know, if I march this far, there's a town, this mayor, he'll be good to take us in. Your knowledge is all out of date because things are happening so quickly.
Okay. I guess, real quick, because I'm just interested, what are your characters? Just generally, you don't have to
Think mercenary band.
Okay.
But with a sense of duty and honour.
And the character you're currently playing is?
Military leader. And duelist. So, fighter.
So they're like a ragtag kind of company of builders and that sort of stuff, but they're very undisciplined. And my character is just trying to keep them all together. And
as the leader?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, my character is a travelling circus / band called Bungley and Boogle's Amazing Travelling Show. And, they're all about making money and, well, the leadership at least. But I'm currently playing a praying mantis martial arts master called Master Zhao.
I missed the name.
Yeah. And Master Zhao. And is it a bit racist? I hope not. But I guess right now we're having a meeting between our groups. And Master Zhao, his idea is we need to travel forth and warn people and see if we can of this advancing force, and see if we can maybe unite these disparate sort of groups and see if we can find some sort of force to come back against them. And he's trying to sell it to the circus owners, Bungley and Boogle, as like, well, we're going to travel so much, surely we're going to put on shows wherever we go and we'll make a lot of money for it. And bring in, of course, happiness in this sort of time of darkness is also, we'll see plenty of custom wherever we head off to. And he's trying to sell it that way to his...
Okay, but his he wants to turn the tide against the
He wants to
the tribes.
Well, he's trying to unite the tribes, but he's also trying to like warn people generally as well. Like he's got.
Is that just from Avatar Unite the Tribes, or is it already a thing?
I think it's already a thing.
It's
but
just
I
a
can't
thing
remember
from
where.
like any sort of story like that, you know. Like it's just a thing.
Yeah. Okay, and so that's everyone.
What do you guys?
So what do you guys
want to do?
think? Do you feel like I haven't given you enough information? Because I'm happy
No,
to.
no,
I'm ready. You go first, Ben.
Well, I'm of the opinion if we're camped out in the fields because there's no room in the city, then this is going to be an absolute slaughter. We can't stay here. As things are now, the sooner we leave, I think, the better. The closer we get to an invasion force being on the horizon, prices will start going up, cost of travel is going to go up. So we need to make the decision to move now. The question is, I think Ivy Cliff would potentially be quite defensible. If it's so difficult to get over the wall that people are willing to pay to go up the ivy, so to speak, I think that would be perhaps quite defensible. So potentially all of the kingdoms to the east of the wall could be warned whilst we still defend Ivy Cliff. However, yeah.
How would we warn them if we were retreating to Ivy Cliff?
Ivy Cliff.
Because we wouldn't have to just stay as one party. Potentially, I would have thought we could send out runners to all of to any kingdoms and cities
and tell them this is our position.
We need help before it's too late.
But it's so close to that force. That force is expanding, and you think that's the most defensible, and we'll have enough time to bring all the forces to Ivy Cliff?
I don't really know how much I'm worried about all the forces. I think we're not trying to save the world here.
Speak for
I'm
yourself.
just trying to get my...
You're trying to make money.
I'm trying to make money. Think how rich we will be if we save the world. Everyone will owe us.
It's true.
Everyone.
Think how dead we would be if that massive army catches up with us. It's a terrible idea. And look,
You know what I'm saying? Get rich or die trying.
It's right here. Their massive army is here. Like, let's just head in the other direction.
So you want to go
Across
over
the
the water,
ponds.
or do you want to travel? I think
we can do very well
fully-
in this crazy little... I mean, there's money to be made.
There's money to be made, but I think it wouldn't be too long
You're
before the
builders,
ants start
aren't you?
moving across the water.
You're about how are you going to build on a pond?
We're very resourceful. We'll just make do with what we got.
The other thing is that the Lily City sounds quite lawless. We're dealing with a travelling troupe. Let's face it. You guys are probably not the most aggressive and defensible bunch.
I mean, we've all had our histories. Okay.
Against
What are you
pirates.
I'm saying not all, of course, but some of us can hold our own.
The other thing to bear in mind as well is we know that the Red Ants have a flying vanguard, so potentially they'll just fly over the water. And
It's true.
I think a city that's basically formed of smaller disparate groups that basically get along because they have to is far less likely to be able to put up any sort of defence. They won't be able to coordinate themselves together, so I think the Lily Pond, or the Lily City, I think it's perhaps not
Okay,
the right
so we
move.
tried west. We tried south.
We tried east.
We haven't tried east?
No,
What about
east is.
Oh, right.
What
yeah, we
about
haven't tried
towards towards the Republic of
Apple Tree.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
No, what's it
It was
called?
Manor.
It's called
wasn't it?
Manor.
Mana. How's that spelled? Just MANOR.
M-A-N-A.
Oh, Mana, the Republic of Mana. Why not go there? It's a large city. They have plenty of defenses there, and what's more, we can warn people, and we can do some politicking. whilst we're there.
We could potentially be useful there.
We could potentially, and also it's, I'm sure, a defensible position. Of course, Ivycliff is a great option, but I feel it's so close to
I think it stinks. I think it's a terrible option.
Ivycliff. Or
It wouldn't be able to hold
the
indefinitely.
Republican Manor. We should go to the Republican Manor.
Okay.
And
Republican Manor?
if it gets bad there, we can just move on.
But we need to warn the people of this town. We need to get them out.
No, I think I'm done. We're ready to leave immediately.
You
I,
guys might want to purchase some supplies before you leave the city. What?
Nope.
So
Okay.
You're on your own then. You can leave.
who's got connections or I probably have the skill list up in front of me. I've just saw the skills. Who's got connections? Who's got?
Yeah, I have connections.
Okay. Well, actually, I tell you what. Why don't you all roll one dice and compare it to your group's little list.
The group's list.
6, loyal.
So loyal. Okay, they're definitely all going to travel with you. I'm just
Are
thinking.
you sure that doesn't mean that we're going to be loyal to all the refugees?
Right. Find
Uh,
common,
So common. Okay,
I got common
and
as well.
you both got common. Okay.
so we can relate to these people.
Yeah,
My
I'm-
guys, incidentally, my builders and whatever, they come from this city. They
Okay.
all do.
They're all local boys.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just rolling to see if that would like inform any sort of equipment that you guys already have before the mission starts. So common probably means that you're not. Well, I'll let you.
They
Sort
don't
of,
have loads of money. They're not bringing lots of like cash and stuff with them. But they probably have everything. Like, actually, that doesn't make sense. Presumably, they were pretty poorly equipped.
but you've got all your you've got all your tools and
We've
that
got
sort of
tools.
stuff. Okay, that's fine. And likewise for Dan, I guess if you've got common as well,
Yeah.
then you maybe don't have. Well, actually, you tell me what sort of equipment do you think you've got to take on the road with you?
Well, to be honest, we're just restocking our whole caravan. You know, we travel. That's our living, is to travel. So we have no real issues with knowing what we need to stock up on food, on repair kits for if wagon wheels come off, or if we need to heal our steeds, whatever they may be. I'm imagining large beetles of some kind.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
So yeah, I imagine we're just going around doing our usual, maybe picking up a few more supplies than we would usually do, considering this darker time. But
Okay. Well, I am going to say that you.
oh, and maybe are there any like sort of common weapons we could actually pick up?
This is.
and
I think I'm going to actually role
Yeah.
play you guys going in and doing some sort of.
That's fine.
Some sort of shopping.
On the way there, I'm Master Zhao is at least talking to this guy, being like, "Well, surely you come from this town, okay? You have family and friends here. Why would you want them to stay here and die?
They're coming with us.
All of your friends, all of the people that you know and you care for in this town.
More or less everyone I know works for me, yes.
I still feel we need to. You know the mayor of this town?
I
Is
guess
there a
I
man?
would know him, yeah.
Who's
A
got?
leader?
Yes, there's a council of aldermen who sort of take care of the cities.
Do you think you could get me a meeting with this council
I could try.
of aldermen?
Okay.
Would you actually be willing to?
What are you going to talk to him about?
I'm telling them to come with us. We'll be safer as a larger group, and we'll make our way to the Republic of Mana. This place, we all know, is doomed for within the week.
I'm pretty sure he's got his own plans.
All right.
I mean, well, I'll ask about them then.
Okay. So, has anyone got street smarts or culture smarts? I'll take either
I
of
got
those.
mine.
My
Smarts.
successor has. Is that?
Okay. No, Dan, you roll. So what? Which? Yeah, just roll all 6 of your die.
All 6.
All 6. What are you? Which number is the culture?
Culture smarts is 1 for priest.
Okay, so you're gonna try and roll at least 2 ones. This is the way it works. If you roll 1 of anything,
Yeah.
that doesn't do anything. If you roll 2 of something, you succeed, but with a negative consequence.
Unless I had the +1, I assume.
Yes. Have you got +1 in?
No.
No. The +1 just counts as 1 more dice, so you always have 1
I got
in that.
science
effectively.
smarts as well. For that doesn't count.
That probably isn't gonna. We'll just roll and see what you get, and then
No. I only
you got 1. What else have you got? Let's just have a look.
I got 1. I got heal. I've got endure. 2 endures. I've got science smarts, and I've got notice +1.
Okay, well, I'm going to. The way I'm going to work some of this stuff is by combining. So I'll combine your notice with your
Okay.
Okay, because otherwise, like for this, like for most roles, like this sort of reactive role where I tell you to roll is going to be, you're not that likely to get your successes, just the way the numbers work out.
Right.
So I'll let you combine things like this when it makes sense. So you've got notice and you've got
I've got notice and
you've got culture smart. So how much do you know? So you know that the city, this city, Whitgate, is notorious for its incredibly complicated, comprehensive, Byzantine, thorough legal code. It's a city. It's not. It's almost the polar opposite of your like den of thieves down here. It's a place where everything's taxed, everything's regulated.
Okay.
That being said, generally speaking, there's still all the little things that happen everywhere where there's lots of laws that are things that are basically illegal, like jaywalking, that they don't actually enforce, even though there's laws in the books for pretty much anything can be an offence if they wish it to be.
Yeah.
But your experience is that the guards, and maybe Ben's character might notice this as well. Your experience is that the guards generally don't just hassle people. And it looks like they are at the moment. It looks like you're seeing a lot of people being moved along in the street. You're seeing people being, as you walk past, you see people being fined for stopping their car in the road. You see all this sort of what looks like minor sort of what normally would be overlooked is now being enforced.
Sorry, just give me 1 minute.
That's fine. That was actually quite a good time. That's a pause.
Okay, I'm seeing this. This is strange. I want to go up to one of the people who has just been fined. Once they're out of the eyesight of the guard who was fining them, and I just want to just quickly, like, just sort of not pull them aside, but just tap them on the shoulder and ask them, "What's? Excuse me. Why are the guards being so uptight and today? What is their reason for putting every man aside for any excusable offence?"
Can't probably answer that myself, but it's pissing me off, he shouts after the guard's back.
Right.
I've been parking here every day for the past 6 years.
And this is the first time?
Never had any problems before. And I am starting to regret this fucking accident.
So you can just be on your way.
If you would just leave this Meyer NPC alone.
Okay. But before I quickly depart, have you noticed anything odd with the guards as of the last few days since the attacks, or?
Being damn uptight.
Okay, and you wouldn't know why.
Well, we're at war.
I mean,
Grab Dan and bring him with us.
Yeah, if you could. He just sort of looks after you as if he's not quite sure
whether you're
what
sane.
the fuck you were talking about. Like, have you just been in he recognised your weird monk's robes. Do you walk around wearing your weird monk robes, or do you wear, like, regular clothes?
Kind of monk robish.
So what you're saying is you do not look normal by any stretch.
By anyone's standards. Okay, so what are you guys going to head to do? Are you going to go down to... So the best shopping areas are down at the docks, but the government centre is in the middle of the town. It's surrounded by sort of parkland. It looks a little bit like something like a Google campus. Like, it's a fairly spacey and leafy area with lots of big buildings. I should mention the city is mostly constructed from... It's mostly carved out of... and constructed from blocks of the chalk, which is the native rock here, and was exposed way back in time when the burrow was dug that opens into the warren. So it's got lots of white chalk buildings. It looks a bit like those Greek Mediterranean towns that are sort of a cascade of white buildings down towards the sea, except this sort of extends up, and then there's like a massive tunnel entrance that it sort of goes into. So what are you guys thinking?
And this is the shopping area, you said?
Yeah, so what sort of things do you guys think you want to pick up for your travels? You're not going to need to hire boats, which would have been a major cost, but you might need to pick up some more wagons, supplies.
I think it's going to be a long trip.
I personally want to speak to the government first. My guys are clearly feeling loyal, and I want to know what this city is planning on doing about this situation.
I'll go down and I probably have contacts at the docks, so I'll go and try and pick up supplies for everyone else if they want.
Okay.
I would like to come with.
Okay.
Ben, of course.
I'm going to deal with Ben's stuff first, if that's all right. Ben.
Which one?
Fun.
You say that you want to come with
Okay,
Ben,
we
of
should
course.
choose the
Oh,
character
no.
name. What should my guys be called? They want to be first in the phone book, so they're going to be the Aardvarks.
The Aardvarks.
Aardvarks.
That's amazing.
Aardvark construction company. In the world where Aardvark's just a word, no one knows about Aardvarks.
Nobody knows what
Why
they
not
are.
go for beaver constructing?
Nah, I like Aardvark.
Alright, well my guy's name is Marshall Darrick.
Okay.
Marshall Darrick. Okay, Master Zhao would like to accompany Marshall Darrick at
Okay.
least.
I'm going to deal with Ben. What's your character called?
I haven't given him a name yet.
Okay, I'm going to deal with Mr. Aardvark.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
So the way that the rolling sort of usually works in this game is it's a bit more zoomed out than it would normally be. You don't always describe your action and then do it. What you do is you roll your dice, and then using that you're informed on the sort of actions that you would do well to take, as it were. So if you roll all your dice now. So you've got a lot of
Three
twos.
commons. Really?
No.
really-
On your you should probably have picked before you roll. No, ordinary pick before you roll, but I'll let you pick afterwards now. So pick
okay.
one of your,
It would have been this one anyway.
which is your sort of social one. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's?
So I got 3 mates.
So you're really good at making stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so this system.
He's going to buy the parts to make wagons.
Exactly.
Cheaper than buying the wagons.
And then everyone's going to arrive and they're like, these things look like crap. And it's like, yeah, I made them just now,
Okay,
guys.
so you haven't got you
You
haven't
can thank me later.
you haven't got a +1 in make. Okay, so what you could there's I'm going to be fairly loose with the interpretation of what
Well, it
these
doesn't
things
have
are.
any +1s for anything. He didn't add them.
Oh, Ben didn't do his +1s because you're out of the room.
No.
What are +1s?
So you can pick 3 traits.
Okay.
That's across both.
Across both, but if you have do you have the same trait on either character? On either
No.
Okay, then in which case, just pick 3 traits, and you automatically have 1. All right, Ben.
Straight in.
And not. You can only.
Oh yes. Oh, and the other, hang on. How have you guys done it? Because I've just thought of something which I was meant to say. You can have a maximum of 2 on, as in you can't put them all on 1.
Okay.
Okay.
So just stick another one. Otherwise, yeah. Just to keep you guys a bit more balanced. Okay, so the make thing. You could say that you pick up the supplies you need to make some stuff. You could also be that you go to someone who you've previously worked with, as in you've constructed. Like
You've got this history of construction, so that kind of thing.
Yeah, this is the sort of thing. Like it's a bit more free. Like you're using your guys' traits, but you don't have to be that literal with them.
Okay. Let me think. How about... I probably have a lot of contacts from that.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Okay, so you pick.
They're probably leaving as well, so...
Yes, this is the thing. The prices, like you were saying about the prices are just only going to rise. They are already probably double, and in some cases triple what they'd ordinarily be. Like the prices are going up a lot. So the sooner you get in, the
maybe
better.
I know somebody who's going to leave, and who's got loads of supplies, and I can convince them to come with us.
Yeah, and someone who you've worked with in the past because of your mate. Okay, so there's if you want to describe a bit to me what the building's like.
Okay, well, it's going to be like a kind of a big sort of workshop-y type space. Lots of kind of various machines of different kinds. Most of them for sort of moving things around. And by machines, I guess we're talking like carriages and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I would have thought that, like, ideally, I mean, maybe it's a bit unfair for me to say, but ideally this would be some kind of like shipping company or something.
Okay. So so something that makes. So you're particularly looking at things like wagons, supplies, that sort of thing. So the way that the bonuses work. So what happens here is that's actually a really good roll. So you've got 3 plus 1 from your make. So you've got 4. 4 is enough for a success with a positive consequence. So if you get 2, that's a success with a negative consequence. So you might succeed in talking to the guard, but you really piss off the guy behind you, and then when he gets in, yeah, exactly, that sort of thing. Then there succeeds with a neutral consequence, which is if you get 3. If you get 4, you succeed in with a positive consequence.
So I guess you could probably equate it to something like, say, bartering, where a 2 is a succeed, but you get a worse price than you hoped for.
Yeah.
3 is you get exactly what you hoped for, and 4
Yeah.
you get a better price.
Exactly.
Or something.
the other results that Ben rolled can be used. They have to be, but can be used as like inspiration. So you've got a converse,
a figure out,
and a fake. So I'm going to say that you can deceive the guy should you want to, because he's got such faith in you. You can exaggerate, and in the following exchange that's going to happen, you can talk to him, and he'll probably buy what you say. If you lie to him.
Would converse not be of benefit if he's buying supplies?
Yeah, but I feel like limiting benefit.
I suppose, yeah, otherwise he's looking at sort of 6.
Right, I'm going to grab the guy's name because I can't remember what he was called. That's it, he's called Nyara. He's a fairly portly beetle. One of his antenna was lost in an accident a long time ago, and he's got a prosthetic one instead. It's just like a sort of brightly... it's decorated with jewels and stuff, but it's not like... It's slightly chintzy rather than flash, if you know what I mean. And he's supervising someone. You said this was like a shipping company.
Yeah, so like, stuff will come in maybe from...
Oh right, I thought you meant like a shipbuilding company. Oh no, you mean like a warehouse that moves things
through.
What
I thought, like, that's why I know them, because they're like a wholesalers, I guess.
Okay. Oh, so you didn't build the place for them, you just have bought supplies from them in the past.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, fair enough. So you walk in and this guy's sort of waving like this, and he's sort of backing up. Someone's got a big bundle of like sticks, because wood's actually fairly... It's not like there's no forests. If you want to get wood, if you're somewhere that's nowhere near a tree or like brambles or something, it's actually quite hard to get hold of, so it's quite often imported. So there's a big bundle of those being moved along on a pulley system along the roof on a silken rope, and being lowered down, and then he turns around and he sees you as you walk in, and he goes, great to meet you. God, only wish the circumstances could be better.
Yeah, it's busy down here.
Yeah, well, I've got to... I mean, everyone else around here is hiking their prices, but who's going to want to travel with this much lumber? I mean, the prices, they're gouging me. They're gouging me, I tell you.
You're going to stick around for much longer?
I just can't afford this. I mean, I can't afford this loss. I've got this warehouse three quarters full, and I just can't afford to eat that. I can't, like... I got hungry grubs to feed.
Don't we all? Well, I was looking to purchase some supplies.
Well, you have to be more specific. What sort of stuff are you thinking?
Well, we're heading west. He doesn't see that. We're heading west to the Republic of Man. Seems like the best bet.
Oh, are you sure about those guys?
What do you mean?
Well, you hear stories.
They've got great resources. They've got a great army. We'll be safe there.
Safe as anywhere in this crazy world.
Damn right. You should come with us.
Yeah?
I'm going to lie to him now. I'm going to use my fake. And I'm going to tell him we've got the best warriors in the kingdom.
You do?
Well, yeah, but I'm going to tell him that we've got 10 times the number of them.
He's going to turn up and it's a fucking circus then.
Yeah, but Dan, you guys have got like wooden swords and stuff you can like dress up
with. Once he's invested. We've got the backing of the mayor.
Okay, so he's interested. He's nodding along. He's just thinking, okay, so
it just doesn't make sense to stay here anymore. That's true. That's truth.
I think you might be right. Okay, so we need to. Okay, so he's looking. He just looks around. And he sort of sits there for a while, contemplating, and he goes, "Okay, I think you're right. I'll sell what I can, and anything useful for the road, I'll load up. Can you? But I don't know if I've got enough carts, and I need you to get. I know carts aren't easy to come by at the moment, but I'm going to need you to go out and see if you can get me some more stuff to move all my stuff, because I mostly move it by boat, and so I don't have that many. I don't have a big road fleet.
Okay, shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, awesome. Right, we'll park that there for a bit. And we'll come back to that later. Well done, Ben.
You just have to use your stats like in any way that you would use a verb, so like you can make conversation.
Shoot the breeze. We're trying to make her face smaller.
she's best.
You can't.
She's best from the front.
She's best like that. You can't ruin her look. No.